Friday, September 28th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So today is the last business day of the or trading day of the third quarter. It's also the last business day, so to speak, for the U.S. government fiscal year. Fiscal year starts October 1st, and it's a good reminder for us to look at the bigger picture of what's really happening to the U.S. government. The fact that it's going to run a $2 trillion deficit in the fiscal year 18-19. The fact that the Fed's getting rid of 600 billion treasuries from its balance sheet in the same year that the Fed's going to have to borrow 2 trillion. The fact that the Chinese, the Russians are probably not going to be buying as many treasuries as they used to, if not any. The fact that Alan Blinder from the former vice chairman of the Federal Reserve, I heard him this week speaking on Bloomberg after the Fed decision, because one of the viewers asked him, Larry Kudlow, the economic advisor to the White House, said that deficits don't matter, a bit like Dick Cheney said that many years ago, because growth will swamp the deficit. It will make the deficit irrelevant. And Alan Blinder had to disagree. Vice Chairman Alan Blinder, former vice chairman, he said that maybe if you're running a deficit, a budget deficit of 1 or 2%, that may be true. If you can get the economy growing quite well, that deficit won't matter. But he notes very well that when you're running deficits, they're going to be 5 or 6 or even 7% of GDP. Having the grow out of that deficit is impossible. So we need to keep that in mind, in perspective, especially when we're looking at the strength of the dollar, the precious metals. I know it's been very frustrating, and believe me, it's been frustrating for me too, what precious metals have done. It's even affected, I guess, a bit the channel. I know I'm gaining a lot of subscribers, but some of the viewing has decreased. Am I concerned about that? No, because my message will always be the same. My message will never change. Like Ron Paul, things don't change. It's the track record doesn't lie. 5,000 years, gold and silver have been the best currencies out there in terms of purchasing power and protecting yourself from confiscation by inflation, by the state. What's the record for fiat money? Well, they eventually all go to zero. Have gold and silver gone to zero? Back in Roman times, you could buy a very nice toga, very nice sandals with an ounce of gold. Today, I think it's a little harder. If you go to Savile Row in London and you buy some really nice brogues, as they call them, you're going to be looking more like 3,000 pounds at least. And the price of gold is what now? 900 pounds. So very undervalued. So I'd like to thank all the subscribers, new subscribers that keep supporting the channel. Talked about the fiscal situation of the U.S. I think that's very important. But I want to look a little bit at Bitcoin today and cryptocurrencies, because beginning of the year I said, that's part of my investments or speculation, I would say, the cryptocurrencies, and they remain. And I've said since cryptocurrencies corrected sharply beginning of the year that we'd have to probably wait a bit longer than we thought to see the bull market resume. And it's been a lot longer actually than many people thought, and maybe even me a little bit. I thought by now we'd be a bit higher, but I actually think Bitcoin bottomed in June this year, around June 24th. We had a low of 5,755. And if you look at the recent lows, they've been higher than that low, so that's a good sign. There's a low in August at around 5,700. 57.64, so just above that 57.55. There's been a recent low just around above 6,000. That was in September, and the only problem is that the highs are not getting higher, and yeah, that is a problem for now. At the moment, the 6,850, I would say that's the big resistance. If we can break through there and then break the high of September at around 7,400, we could be start to see a big move in the cryptocurrencies. I haven't changed my opinion about the blockchain. I've spoken in videos over 2 years ago about how the blockchain will change things, it will decentralize things, and we need to focus on that. I've spoken about how the blockchain is a bit like the internet technology back in the early mid-90s. There were a lot of people that thought the internet email was something, they didn't understand it, and they said, do we really need this? Nowadays, of course, the internet is ubiquitous, and I think the blockchain is going to be a lot like the internet, but people won't really see it. It's not like in your face. It's more like the underneath the hood of the car, or the bonnet, as the English call it. It's more the engine of the internet. And will all cryptocurrencies or altcoins survive? No. There will be a lot of winners and losers, just like there was with the dot-com bubble in the 90s, early 2000s. Well, I've got Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, you need to have some Bitcoin. It's the major currency, cryptocurrency, and I think it will remain for a long time. I've got EOS. There's a lot of people talk about, have their own preferences. Ethereum and Ethereum Classic seem to be doing well, and then there's the bankers crypto, XRP or Ripple. Someone in the latest live stream I did said that Ripple is like the equivalent of marrying a transsexual, going into cryptocurrencies but going to bed with the bankers. So yeah, I won't touch Ripple. There's a lot of other projects. I read the other day that a few guys from EOS, early executives in Block 1, they've moved, they left the project and they're starting their own project. Will it be better than Block 1 or EOS? I think they call themselves Block Strong or Strong Block. I think it's Block Strong. They're saying that Block Strong is going to be, they compare EOS to Boeing 787, and they say that Block Strong is going to be making Boeing 787. I'm not sure. I'm not like a I'm not a developer. I'm a markets guy, an economics guy. So you need to do your own homework and be prepared, excuse me, for the volatility and the fact that your money will be at risk investing in cryptocurrencies. So yeah, this is not advice. This is just my opinion. So let's look at the markets then. It's just gone past 8 a.m. London. Gold yesterday was trading around 11.95 when I made my video, and lo and behold, the US came in, the same old game, and we're now at 11.8150, so we're down 1. Silver is holding up fairly well. You'd think we'd be below 14 now, but we're at 14.25 unchanged. The Dow is down 8. 26,438. So we're a couple of hundred points now below that all-time high. So that false breakout is confirming itself for now. The S&P 2912 down 1.5. NASDAQ 100 future down 6, so not much going on there. And yeah, the dollar is pretty steady. The pound is virtually unchanged at 130.70. The euro is at 116.22, down about 0.2%. So we've dropped fairly significantly in the last few days after the Fed meeting. From around 118, we're almost back to 116. And the dollar continues to rally fairly strongly against the yen at the moment. We're at 113.40. Not much change today, but still fairly strong, compared to the last few months. Dollar yuan, 688.20, down marginally. Crude oil still fairly firm, 72.20, but the rise has slowed down a little bit. That's WTI. Brent is 81.46. The 10-year yield is at 304. So that's kind of come off that, we almost went to 313 the other day. We got up to 311. But since the Fed met, we're back down. If we could test 3%, that will be a support in terms of yield. What about the Italian bond yield? Well, that's up 22 basis points. So there's, when there's one thing that's calmed down, like emerging markets for now, you get something else. I read yesterday that the Italian government passed a budget where the deficit will be 2.4%, and that's against EU rules, which is you can only have a deficit of 2%. So looks like the Italian government has defied the EU, and yields are back up. So this is quite interesting to keep an eye on. Italy's back in the spotlight. It's weird because Italy passed a budget 2.4% of GDP deficit, and the EU is not happy. But the U.S. is running was going to run a 6% budget deficit as a percentage of GDP. So it just goes to show you how U.S. finances are so screwed up compared to the EU. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Steemit, DTube, Twitter, BitTube. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.